Yesterday, Chandrayaan-3 landed on the south pole of the moon. India did something that no other country has been able to do. None of the superpowers have achieved this feat. In fact, Russia's lunar mission failed just a few days ago, and still it was humble enough to congratulate India on the victory. But is the West sharing that sentiment? You see, not everyone in the West is happy with Chandrayaan-3's success. And we get it. It's bound to sting when a former colony achieves what the colonizer could not. You see, the UK has never landed on the moon, and the frustration is bubbling over in rather ugly ways. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. This British anchor, his name is Patrick Christys. He congratulated India for Chandrayaan-3's landing, but not without snide remarks. Let me read out what he said. I would like to congratulate India on landing on the dark side of the moon. I would also like to invite India to return the 2.3 billion pounds of foreign aid between 2016 and 2021. He goes on to say, I'm quoting further, we should not be giving money to countries with a space program. As a rule, if you can afford to fire rockets to the dark side of the moon, you should not be coming to us with your hand out, quote unquote. Let me say that again. He says, you shouldn't be coming to us with your hand out. But is the UK in any position to be saying that? Because the last we checked, India had refused to take aid from Britain, and this happened more than a decade ago. It was the year 2011. India's former president served as the finance minister at that time, Pranab Mukherjee, and he clearly mentioned that India does not need British aid. The Indian government wanted to voluntarily give it up. But the UK begged them to keep taking the money, and still it did not have much to offer. Have a look at this report. The International Development Committee published that the impact of the British aid on India's development was next to nothing. So just what is the UK so arrogant about? What is there to brag about? The British anchor did not just stop there, by the way. There is more to this. He said, and I'm quoting, India reportedly has 29 million people living in poverty. According to the UN, it is the highest anywhere in the world. It is also the fifth largest economy in the world with annual GDP of $3.75 trillion. Why are we paying poverty-stricken India when their own government will not bother? Yes, India is the fifth largest economy of the world. It overtook the UK only a few months back. Is this what people in the West are feisty about now? And speaking of India's poverty, the UK was not helping much to begin with. A spokesperson for the UK's Foreign and Commonwealth Development Office said, and I'm quoting, since 2015, the UK has given no financial aid to the government of India. Most of our funding now is focused on business investments, which help create new markets and jobs for the UK as well as India. What the UK has been sending is not even humanitarian aid. So why are we even bringing up those living in poverty? Let me just remind you, ISRO's space missions are one of the world's most cost-effective. Chandrayaan-3 had a budget of roughly $75 million. Hollywood movies like Interstellar and Gravity cost more than that. Just for perspective, Interstellar had a budget of $165 million, Gravity $100 million. And that speaks for itself. India had a huge achievement to celebrate, but instead of joining the celebration, here are some people trying to downplay India's success. It wasn't just the anchor. News broadcasters like BBC and CNN also did something similar. India is the fourth country to land on the moon, but it is the first one to reach the dark side of the moon. And while they were covering the landing when it happened initially, they were reluctant to acknowledge the extent of India's success. Other Britons also chimed in on the platform X. One said the UK should not be sending aid to countries with space programs so advanced they can land rockets on the other side of the moon. Where is this coming from? Is it jealousy or is it colonial hangover? Why are some Britons conveniently forgetting the $45 trillion their country looted from India? What about the plunder the colonizers took home? Should we also invite the UK to return that? While some in the West may not be too happy, some of India's neighbors surely are. On X, Chandrayaan-3 Success was met with warm regards from people of Pakistan, so much so that congratulations neighbors started trending on the platform. It's just the government of Pakistan that fosters hate. So far, only the former Minister Fawad Chaudhry has congratulated India. And China, for that matter, remains silent as well. Do they really need to be so petty? WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.